Hello, and welcome to your 7th reading comprehension lesson. Today we will read a story together and answer some questions about it. This way we can see if we understand what the story is saying. Let's continue practicing what we learned. So get your notebook and let's get started. First, let's review the steps to answering the story. 1. What is the question keyword or keywords? 2. Find that keyword in the article or story. And 3. Answer the question. So for today's lesson, I will let you see the questions first. Then we will spend 3 minutes reading the story. Here are your questions. Let's find the key words. Number 1. What is this story about? When you see this type of question, there is no keyword. You must simply understand what you read and match the answers. So no keywords here. What did the king need to protect the kingdom from? We have some keywords here. Can you see them? King and protect the kingdom from. When we read the story, we need to look for the words king and the part where he needed to protect the kingdom. Number 3, what was probably true of Jason in the story? There are no keywords here. We need to look at the question's answers first and then match the story when we read it. Question number 4. What was the difference between Jason and his brothers? Difference questions are special. We need to understand both things to make a choice. It is easiest to read the answer choices before reading the story. Question number 5. What did the king have to announce? We have some keywords here. Can you see them? King and announce. In the story, we need to look for the king making an announcement. Take a look at the questions and the answer choices. Use about a minute to read these questions before we start the story. Pause the video if you need to. I will give you 3 minutes to read the story. Then we will look at the questions. Reading comprehension question number 1. What is the story about? A sudden fight between kings? A kind prince who got a kingdom? An expert sister and a famous king? The challenge to divide the kingdom? When you are asked what a story is about, you must try and find the answer that matches the whole story best. Let's look at these answers together. It's not A, a sudden fight between kings. This is wrong. There was a sudden fight, but not between kings. They were princes. It's not C, an expert sister and a famous king. There was no sister in the story. It's not D, the challenge to divide the kingdom. There was no challenge to divide the kingdom, so this can't be right. The answer must be B, a kind prince who got a kingdom. This is the best answer for this question. Most of the story was about the princes fighting, but that isn't the best answer choice here. Reading comprehension question number 2. What did the king need to protect the kingdom from? A, the fighting between the two princes. B, the harm caused by sudden fights. C, the differences between the three brothers. Or D, the poor condition of the king's army. In a story, we needed to look for what the king did to protect the kingdom. Let's use that to answer these questions. It's not B, the harm caused by sudden fights. There wasn't really any harm to the kingdom from the fights. It would more, in the future, it could. D is not right, the poor condition of the king's army. The king was not worried about his army. It's not C, the differences between the three brothers. There were differences between the princes, but the king didn't need to protect the kingdom from that. So the answer must be A, the fighting between the two princes. The king was very worried about the fighting between the two princes and the harm to the kingdom. Reading comprehension question number 3. What was probably true of Jason in the story? A, he wanted to bring peace to the kingdom. B, the challenge of being king was too much for him. C, he wanted harm to come to his brothers. D, he hoped to divide the kingdom. The easiest way to answer this kind of true question is to look at the answer choices and see which one matches the story. Always read the answers first. It's not D. He hoped to divide the kingdom. The story never said that he hoped to divide the kingdom. It's not C. He wanted to harm his brothers, or he wanted harm to come to his brothers. He never actually said anything in the story. It's not B. The challenge of being king was too much for him. Jason never tried to stop the king from making him the new king. So the answer must be A. He wanted to bring peace to the kingdom. We know that he was a kind person, and the king said he could bring peace. This is the best answer choice. Reading comprehension question number 4. What was the difference between Jason and his brothers? A, he was an expert with weapons. B, he was older and stronger. C, he made more sense. Or D, he had always been kind. After reading the story, we will be able to see how the two choices are different. Now let's look at the possible answer choices to choose the best one. It's not B. He was older and stronger. Jason was the youngest son. It's not C. He made more sense. He never spoke in the story. It's not A. He was an expert with weapons. He could have been, but the story never said this. Only he was kind. So the answer must be D. He had always been kind. And this is correct. The king said that his kindness made him special. This is the best choice. Here is your last question. Answer it in the comments section of the video. What did the king have to announce? I hope you liked today's lesson, and I will see you for our next lesson. Goodbye.